If you care about real-world survival knowledge forged under pressure, trench art from the First World War deserves your full attention. This is not about souvenirs or decoration. This is about men trapped for months in mud, cold and constant danger, turning battlefield waste into functional tools that kept them alive and sane. If this kind of hard-earned knowledge matters to you, subscribe to the Battlefield of Survival channel, like this video, and leave a comment with what skill you want covered next. Now let's get straight to the work. What trench art actually was in the context of survival and utility. In the trenches, scrap was everywhere. Shell casings, shrapnel fragments, broken rifles, wire, damaged bayonets, ration tins and leather from ruined gear were treated as raw material. Soldiers did not see trash. They saw potential. Trench art at its core was improvised manufacturing under extreme constraints. Tools were shaped with files stolen from workshops, stones used as abrasives, and heat taken from cook fires or candles. The mindset matters more than the object. Anything abandoned on the battlefield could be repurposed if you understood its properties. How shell casings were turned into functional tools and containers. Brass artillery shell casings were one of the most valuable materials available. Brass does not rust, shapes easily, and holds form once worked. Soldiers cut casings down to create cups, cooking vessels, and oil containers. Edges were rolled inward using rocks or rifle butts to remove sharp lips. For a modern survivalist, this teaches a core lesson. Soft, non-ferrous metals are ideal for cold working without advanced tools. Today, spent brass, aluminum tubing or copper pipe can be hammered into scoops, water dippers or wind guards for fires using the same principles. How shrapnel and broken steel became cutting and boring tools. Shrapnel was deadly, but once collected, it became valuable steel stock. Soldiers selected fragments with high carbon content, identified by hardness and spark when struck. These fragments were ground into knife edges, awls, chisels, and scribes. Heat treatment was crude but effective. Steel was heated red-hot in a fire, quenched in water or oil, then tempered by reheating slowly. Survivalists can apply this today using vehicle springs, broken files, or industrial scrap. The First World War lesson is clear-edge tools can be created without precision machinery if you understand heat and abrasion. So, here's how wire and fasteners really tackled both structural and repair problems on the front lines. Barbed wire, littered no man's land, but once the barbs were stripped away, it became invaluable as binding wire. Soldiers would twist it into hinges, hooks, traps, and all sorts of fasteners. It actually replaced nails, rivets, and even stitching when there was nothing else available. Wire reinforced cracked rifle stocks, patched up boots, and even held together makeshift shelters. For modern field use, well, this lesson translates directly. Fence wire, electrical wire, or even just stripped cable can be used to secure shelters, hang up cooking gear, or splint broken equipment. The key principle is tension over compression. Trench soldiers really trusted twisted wire because, in the end, it held under stress. So, let's talk about how ration tins and food containers were turned into stoves and signal devices. Tin cans were transformed into trench stoves just by punching air holes with bayonets or nails, and then adding simple grates made from wire. These little stoves could burn solid fuel, wood scraps, or even fat skimmed from rations. Some tins were flattened and polished up to work as reflectors for signalling or to amplify light inside dugouts. For modern survivalists, this really drives home the value of thin steel and proper airflow control. Honestly, a food can today, if it's vented right, becomes a controlled heat source. The First World War method shows exactly how to manage combustion without wasting precious fuel. Now, moving on to how bone, wood and leather were shaped into everyday tools. Broken rifle stocks, old ammunition crates and animal bones were all carved into things like handles, pegs, spoons and wedges. Leather from damaged boots and belts was turned into sheaths, straps and repair patches. Soldiers would soak the leather to soften it, stitch it with wire or thread pulled from uniforms, and then harden it by drying it near heat. This same technique still works today. Wet-formed leather can make protective covers for blades or fire-starting kits, and wood scavenged from pallets or debris. That can be shaped with just a few tools, so long as you understand the direction of the grain and how to use leverage. Improvised tools also played a big part in hygiene, maintenance, and honestly, morale. Not every tool was a weapon. Soldiers made toothbrush handles, shaving tools, and boot scrapers because, frankly, hygiene prevented disease. They also fashioned cleaning rods, oilers, and sight adjustment tools to keep their weapons in working order. These little details really mattered. For folks into survival, this highlights an area that's often overlooked. Tools that help you stay healthy and maintain your gear will extend your survival a lot further than just offensive tools alone. Trench art proves that functional comfort is a real strategic advantage, not just a luxury. So, how do we apply these trench art principles to modern survival planning? The real takeaway isn't about copying the objects themselves, but about adopting the process. Identify materials by what they can do, not just where they came from. Learn the basics of metal shaping, edge creation, and fastening techniques. Practice working with scrap, even under poor conditions. Try building something useful without buying any parts. Trench soldiers had to refine these skills because failure meant immediate consequences. You can practice them safely now and build the kind of confidence that really matters when things go sideways. World War I trench art was survival manufacturing under fire. Every object tells a story of adaptation, discipline, and practical intelligence. If this kind of grounded, historically proven knowledge matters to you, go ahead and subscribe to Battlefield of Survival, like the video, and share it with someone who values real skills over just theory. Leave a comment with the trench-made tool you want broken down next, and let's keep this knowledge alive.